I did see Patrick on the call, but I don't see him anymore. But Patrick had a really good question at the time of registration, so I'm going to pose it. Canada's national debt was 828 billion as of July 28th, 2020, and continuously rising. What will the Canadian government do to control the debt, and what is the opposition's position or plan on this, or lack thereof? I'll pose that to you first, Kyle, and we can move on from there.
Sure. Look, I think there's a couple of ways to look at issues of debt, deficit, and debt. Number one, government is there to go into deficit and accumulate debt when the country is going through hardship or challenges. That can be whether it's through a large global economic recession, or if it's with respect to a shutdown of our economy like we went through to protect people from COVID-19. These are very legitimate reasons to go into debt, and I certainly do not fault the government for going into debt to help us all get through COVID-19. The challenge that I have is in the previous 5 years when the economy was doing exceptionally well, the government chose to also run very, very large deficits. Some years the deficit was 20, 25 billion, some years it was 15 billion, but in those few years they added $80 billion to the national debt. And the old saying is, make hay when the sun shines. And so when the economy is booming and you're doing well, we have to look at ways to balance the budget and in fact find ways to pay down the national debt, because when the debt gets to a certain level and now it's over $1 trillion, servicing that debt, the interest on that debt becomes exorbitant. It's kind of like when you max out your credit card and your minimum monthly payments get to the point where you can barely afford to make the minimum monthly payment. That's when you're going to be in big trouble. And a lot of the spending that's gone out through COVID-19 was done when Parliament was effectively shut down. So we've had very little scrutiny of the spending. We've certainly heard stories of irregular spending, money that's not been accounted for. And these are very large challenges that I'm looking forward to Parliament coming back to look at. What we have to look at now is as we move out of COVID, we have to find ways to efficiently spend our money, because we have accumulated, close to $400 billion in debt through COVID-19. That's almost doubling the national debt in 4 months. So we have to find ways to support Canadians, to support our small businesses, but also we can't run up, if you take $400 billion over 4 or 5 months and turn that into an annual deficit of $1 trillion, very quickly Canada's going to run out of borrowing capacity. So we have to find ways to spend this borrowed money efficiently, and in fact find ways to bring this budgetary deficit and the debt back down to standards that we can maintain. And I don't know, Mayor Brown, if you want to jump in on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you made the comment at the beginning of your statement there that, governments, provincial and federal, when things get rough on the financial front, this is the time when they have to borrow money to keep businesses and to allow people to pay their rent and what have you. And that's what's happened over the past. It's alarming, though, the increase. And I'm concerned about how transfer payments are going to be affected to the provinces. And I'm concerned about how money will flow down to the municipality as well from the province. So all those things will come home to roost in the next few months. We've got budget discussions for Orangeville coming up in the fall. And, we're looking at how the other levels of government are going to be tightening their belts, because they can't spend at this rate. We're just going to get deeper into the hole, and our grandchildren are going to be paying for this. So we need to find a way to get out of COVID and get back to a normal economy as soon as we can.
Okay, thank you both for those answers. And Patrick, if you're still on, thanks for the great question.